Very much a bot side focus for the side of MNM. You've drafted Samira, you know what that means, you want that Samira rolling. Other side, mid jungle from X7, Tempt on Ari, got a Jhin Zhao to back that up, sounds pretty scary.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right? You just look at the X7's comp and you just see that they have to kind of play through this mid jungle. On the other side, MNM they don't forfeit mid by picking the Victor, but just Victor leads into the likes of Jhin Zhao, Ari. It's gonna be quite hard for them, I think, to withstand the power that the mid jungle duo has from X7. On the other side, though, I see Michigan once again, he's playing on the Samira, right? A champion that has to snowball lane, and this is not the easiest task into Ezreal Braum, right? But if MNM is going to have a game plan, they have a kind of scaling mid and top at the same time, and Michigan Shredder, they played, honestly, obviously they played Samira on Monday as well, right? And I didn't see any like sort of proactivity on their side. This time around, though, it could be hard against the likes of Ezreal Braum.
And we'll call it out as well, of course. MNM had a bit of a rough first game back to the NLC. They've switched out most of their roster with the remainder of Mishigu being that one remaining member from Spring. MNM started Spring pretty well. We saw some great stuff, particularly out of that mid-jungle duo. They pushed X7 a massive way. They nearly caused X7 their first loss. They couldn't make it stick, and then we saw some coaching staff changes, and MNM kind of fell apart a bit, all things said and done. They've revamped for summer. They've come in, and their first game, all puns intended, was a bit of a curb stomp. That Darius was a monster. It made things very difficult. We have, however, got a level 1 invade, and that means we've got some action starting off as Nautilus lands a dredge line. MC's going to have to flash out early Ignites on. I think he's just dead. It's first blood to Soph, and that is exactly what MNM wanted to see.
Oh, that is rough for MC and the homies. They actually were...
Keep going. Attila has to flash. He's going to get hooked again. I think he's just dead as well. It's 2 to the Lee Sin.
Damn. I did not expect that right off the bat.
X7 Blank was there. He wasn't topside. It was a 3v4.
Yeah, legit. Kalem, obviously, I mean, really well played there. I guess from GP just knowing that if they go for the invade, which they can with the likes of Ezreal, Braum, and the Sims are really strong level 1.
Seems good,
so
you're right, yeah.
Just a really good prediction there. And now, I said that you cannot really... It's hard to snowball bot when you're playing against this really safe bot lane of Attila and Kasing on the Ezreal Braum. But now, Ezreal without flash, Sinsa without flash as well. It's now kind of up to Soph to be able to keep snowball this lead that he now has.
Well, you needed to see how they'd be able to pull it off. This is the way. You can see it's the 3-man stack. They start off the red buff, but Kalem is there. It makes it the 4v3. Shredder lands the hook, and from there, things get ugly for X7.
Yeah, I mean, you just see, look at the draft, and you see that Braum, you just... Braum is obviously just OP level 1 Ezreal as well, but when Kalem goes in like this, they just know they have the numbers and they know that they can win this fight. They also had both of the Michigan Shredder put both of their wards actually on the entrances there, so they knew what was going on, and I mean, it's really smart play from them. This is what you need to kind of take down X7 like this.
It is a big, big moment for them, and that is not what you want to see from X7, who of course had a rough game the first time round. They lost to XL, they're kind of rivals for large parts of Spring, and now you've got your kind of starting roster. It's here, it's together. And this is the level 1. That is not what you want to see. It cost them 1,000 gold pretty much at the beginning. It gets Soph on this Lee Sin, a snowboard lead. He can start impacting the rest of the map. You've got 2 assists on the Samira, which we were saying, look, that's into Ezreal Braum. That should be pretty hard to punish. You've already got a flash off Attila. He's died once. Kasing is going to be there, but he's Braum, right? He's not going to have that much pressure in lane, and that means bad things for the likes of MC, who is replacing Haru, lest I remind you, the former world champion, a man with an Ezreal skin in the game because he made Ezreal jungle work, for crying out loud. Soph was looking for a bit of invade there, won't quite find it, but this Lee Sin is off to the races. MC, who got his Nidalee on Monday, couldn't make it work. He's in onto this game too with a Jhin Zhao, early pressure, dies level 1. That is rough stuff.
Yeah, that is rough stuff indeed. And you see now that MNM obviously is going to get the bot wave control like for the first levels, and that means that Shredder could recall early. He could go towards the top side that Soph was already have. They could have maybe gone for that invade, but they don't want to risk what they already have. Lee Sin, obviously, Soph already 2-0 on this Lee Sin. And now the good part is as well that when Shredder moves up to the top side like this, he gives Chimera pressure, right? He gives Chimera the window to push out mid, and that means that X7, their bot lane, they can't really dive Michigan alone. And now Shredder obviously is going to be back for the slow push, going to be able to grab all that XP, and now it's going to be up. This is kind of what one of my points that I had for MNM in their last game. They didn't really abuse the fact that they could use their slow pushes, and now I want to see they have the window now to do a slow push. Maybe they could, if they only take away the Gromp from MC, I want to see them do something proactive.
Use this early advantage, try and translate that into lane states, which means you can use your priority to make things happen in the jungle. Completely agree. Soph is going to start up, but he hasn't got that priority you were talking about. He's just gone straight in. He's going to get knocked up with a 3 talent strike, and a WQ from Tempt will secure a kill back. they didn't do all the steps. You just outlined them for it here. That was primarily what you don't do, as Kemera has to flash away from the charm to boot. It'll be a flash for flash, because of course Tempt flashed as well. But that is a pretty now vulnerable Victor.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, right, both mid laners using their flash there for sure were for Tempt, who's gonna get level 6 maybe on this next wave, and that's obviously just gonna be better for him, right? But as I mentioned, Sof, they went for the invade, was really good. Now we...
Wait. It's not done. It's fighting all over again, but this is now a Braum here. They're going to try and get in. Samira's got that blade well rolling. Okay. Gets the kill. Could not get those passive stacks. So Kasing has to flash across the wall, and MNM do bite back. They get a kill onto the all-important Samira.
Yeah, so much action going on in this early game. I was gonna say that, Sof, you just wanna play through your bot lane, right? You see, they're so strong. They even could fight them 2v3, and they don't care. And they just have to use these bot side slow push that they are gonna be able to get. Kemera now without flash, as you mentioned, not gonna be able to have as much priority. Once again, they just have to be able to use this bot lane prior that Michigo and Shredder has.
See whether they can make it work. Of course, on Monday, it kind of didn't. We saw Shredder on the Alistair, and he just became a steak on the table for Darius to sort of fry up medium rare multiple times in that game. The Noxian Guillotine was working overtime in that one. This game, though, 3 really beautiful dredge lines already to secure 100% kill participation. Only 6 minutes into the game, which is great news. About a 500 gold lead. It was evened up a little bit after that kill came back, and some decent punishment as Attila is going to get hooked again. They are heat seeking. I was not expecting that, but clearly I should have been, as Shredder is shredding X7's chances in this game. Michigu's going to keep hopping forwards.
He's just dead.
He's just gone. I don't care what you've got. There'll be a little bit more flair and a double kill for this Samira. Now 3-0-2.
This is what I just love to see, right? We saw on Monday, MNM, they kind of, what I would call it, they lost in the worst fashionable possible, because you don't want to lose by just kind of bleeding out. You don't take any fights. You just kind of lose slowly. Today, it's a whole new, like a completely new MNM that steps onto the Rift. The Michigo Shredder only have like couple of two kills under their belts. Really impressive.
Very, very good. And that was on Attila, not quite being quick enough with the fingers, honestly. Wasn't expecting the Nautilus in there, but that's a pretty standard Nautilus play. Hide in the bush and try and punish the AD carry as they shove the wave. You have to be aware that's coming. You're on Ezreal. You have an arcane shift, and it's just not enough. And that gets Kasing killed afterwards as well. And it's going to leave MNM now 5 kills to 1. Yes, they're only 1,000 gold lead, but the priority's been pretty huge as Kalem, with the wave in an awkward spot, has to use the ultimate to try and clear out some of those waves, and doesn't really get the barrel off either. He's very low on mana. Chasey in a very strong position in that lane. Look, 20 CS up in what is supposed to be arguably a counter matchup, even if Finn was saying there's a little bit more flippy than that. Yeah, and Chasey obviously just coming from the challenge of LCK, like just proving that he can play whatever matchup he wants, and Kalem obviously really struggling now already, down kind of what equivalents to 2 kills. And now he's gonna pick up the Sheen. It's gonna be a bit easier for him to lane, but Chasey, I mean, looking good so far. Now MC using the fact that Kalem is not gonna be able to fight on the top side, and MC will just start up the Herald on spawn. And that's what he's going to do. Knows that the bot side's a bit of a wash right now, but the top side is going exceptionally well. That's why the gold isn't actually as far apart as you may think. I think it's about 800 in the favor of MNM, but Kemera and Sof are going to come over and prevent this being taken for free. Actually going to see some resets at X7 who decide not going to be able to do this one pretty well. And actually, might just end up being a leash for MNM as Sof is there with the level 6. Clear out that minion wave, and that's a dead Shredder out of nowhere. Not quite sure who picked that one up. I was not paying enough attention to that one as I was eyeing up the Herald. Still, that is another kill onto Tempt, looking at the scoreboard. Even so, still going to pick up that Herald regardless are MNM, even if it does come at the cost of Shredder, who was a little caught out in mid lane.
Yeah. And this could be, this would have been quite a big investment for MNM. Michigo, you know, left bot side to be able to come to this team, but the saving grace, Kemera's TP, is going to be able to pick up that bot wave. Now, even though Shredder, as you mentioned, kind of got, he didn't get caught in mid, he was actually engaging on mid.
Okay, that's what it was. I didn't quite catch it. There you go, thank you.
And he just died between towers, I think. It was really, I mean, I love to see it, you know, Shredder just playing completely aggressive. He wasn't able to kind of play aggressive on the Alistar against the Veigar on Monday this time, but this time around he's just playing, he just don't care, man. I just love to see it. It's gonna be interesting now though, because Sof has to kind of, he doesn't really have a lot of option, I feel like, in terms of the Herald. He cannot really put it on top side because Chase is obviously going to be so strong on this Gwen already. And for the mid, Tempt's gonna have his flashback up. Chimera actually looking really solid so far as well on this Victor. But I just have to say that he has to go to the bot side. I feel like they have to keep play through this.
You've got a Samira with 3 kills. I think you try and get more gold into them. It's come at the cost of a little bit of CS because there's been so much action that farming's kind of fallen a little by the wayside. But get that gold into inventory, get that Samira to her first couple items. You get that Immortal Shield Bow. I believe there's some current tech as well where you can kind of run towards an Infinity Edge second with a load of crit cloak stacking as well, which is apparently very dangerous. Let's see whether they pull up that strategy here today. The point is, Samira needs a couple items, give her more gold, she becomes even more dangerous. Thus far, good start from Mishigu as Chasey does pop the ultimate on that top side. Won't quite be able to find the kill even with the Ignite, but may well force out the flash, as seen. And we'll look for a reset as MC just hunting around to see whether there's a catch available, but won't be able to find the gangplank quite yet, but will force a recall all the way by the tier 2.
Yeah, and this is obviously the upside of GP, right? When you have that kind of barrage, you can just kind of pop it. But X7, they kind of recognize they cannot play through bot side, right? They just have to go for the top side. But now, since GP is actually in the game with it, no other champion would have saved that wave state that it was. And Chaser would have been able to probably pick up like 1 or maybe even 2 solo plates off of that if GP didn't have ulti. But now, just looks still really good for MNM. X7 forced to go for the cross map, right? They cannot go into the bot side. But MNM, I mean, they're not in a sizable lead yet, but just the fact that they came onto Monday, right? Felt like they were not able to play their comp. They couldn't really find any fights, and already in the first 11 minutes, they have more kills than they did in that 30-minute game.
Exactly what we wanted to see, especially from this new roster with a lot of players coming from the likes of Div 2. Kemera was on Monster Gaming last split, did really well in the regular season, and then couldn't quite make it all the way work in the playoffs. I apologize. There we go. Correct. But thus far, so good. And particularly for Mishigu, the remaining member, right? 3-0-2 on the Samira, getting things rolling. Actually looking more like what the comp was supposed to do yesterday. But of course, on the other side, X7's mid-jungle, at least the mid part of that duo, doing pretty well. Tempt back on stage, most CS in the game, 2 kills to their name, very ready to try and find a way to stabilize this game even more. Look, the gold is actually back in X7's favor because largely discrepancies in CS towards that top side.
Oh, yeah, Chasey already has the rift.
Oh, good grief.
Kalim is sitting on just components of his next item, and I mean, it just looks. I mean, I'm gonna be positive, right? MNM, you know, still looking good on this bot side, but Attila, despite being under so much pressure early, is 10 CS up. Is Chase gonna get caught now, though?
He has got a Hallowed Mist. He's got to be really quick with it. It's not quick enough. That means he gets hooked up and knocked down, potentially. Shredder gets that one. Well-deserved. And Chasey finds himself on the receiving end of a well-timed roam from Shredder.
Yes, and Shredder just, once again, he just kind of knows the wave state of the game. And he knows that this Samira on the boss that cannot get punished, so I mean, he has free time. He just go up to the top side and make sure that Chasey cannot keep snowballing this lead that he has. This is really good for Kane, right? He's going to be able to kind of be being chilling now a bit at least until Chasey gets back onto the lane. And you were mentioning in the slides that Tempt are the 2-0 on this Ahri, feeling kind of comfortable. And this just... He has just been kind of a rock for the team, right? The last split time around as well. And this is kind of the difference that makes, even if you're playing with a sub as good as Slow Q is, Tempt is just another level, man. And now they're gonna use this to invade the top side.
Tempt definitely making his presence felt here. We're going to see a little bit of invade onto the blue, but if those Kasing gets caught but throws up the door, has got to stand beside me, will use it with a barrel over the wall, chunks out a lot of people. Cannon barrage afterwards, the HP bar is so damn low. Blue buff is taken. MC trying to heal up best he can, does now full, but in comes Chasey trying to heal out. The needlework gets one back, it's a 1-for-1 right now. Flash charm from Tempt makes his namesake work for him right now. Charming indeed. Now Michigu's here. Flash for the blade well and gets on through. Wild rushing, pulls the Inferno trigger, and a double to Soft.
You don't expect that. You don't expect Mishigu to go up to his top side once he recalled, but he joins the fight and turns it. I thought Tempt and Chasey, they would just be able to kind of roll over that fight, but Mishigu, really clutch play there. Obviously, Shredder flashes onto Tempt, who didn't have any charges left, and they're able to turn the fight. Really impressive.
Oh, I thought it was done, but a flash Wild Rush gets you in there, and suddenly you are all primed up to make it look like Dante from Devil May Cry. Inferno trigger pulled well and truly there. Still no Mythic, but well involved with all the kills thus far is Michigu's Samira.
Yeah, I mean, he's going for the Mercs now that I look at his items, which is It's a bit interesting. I would probably go for maybe some sort of Hex Drinker on the third item, but I guess he just wants to get that Infinity Edge as fast as possible on the third. So, I mean, I guess respectable. Probably not something that I would have thought about, but I mean, Michigan has been proving himself to be kind of a smart player. He plays a lot of different mages, actually. Plays Veigar, plays Victor. He builds kind of a lot of different things, so I respect it.
And I can see the argument in the sense of, look, you get some attack speed from using your E.
Yeah.
Actually, never mind that. We'll have to see a bit of a fight in mid lane. It's tempted to try and get up, but just goes straight down. Soft gets a killing spree. 5-1-2 now on the Lee Sin. That first pick paying off dividends. Attila flashing away from the dredge side, but he's so damn low. So is MC. They're going to try and turn for that barrel. Does so much work. Kazing is dueling out with Mishigu as the Herald is spawned, but that will be a very dead Santa Claus. No Christmas presents under the tree. It'll be coal under that one for MNM come the end of the year. But right now, they are just going to take their just desserts and eat it. A Rift Herald for them. 12-4 in the kills. 3,500 golds in the lead. Next 7 looking a bit lost.
I said that MNM, I said in the beginning, as soon as that level 1 happened, they don't care, and they still don't. They just go for tempt. He gets kind of one-tapped, and after that, this is kind of shambles for X7. Attila's kind of forced to flash his way, and this is the first time in the game where we actually see a sizable goal lead for almost, my math is so bad, super bad.
It's an amount of gold.
It's an amount of gold, that is the case. And I mean, if they can keep doing this, this is such a momentum swing as well, right? And I just wanna highlight that ward onto the blast plant that MC couldn't take. I think it was Shredder. My man, this guy's MVP.
Shredder is having a phenomenal game, and Mishigu 404, enemy health bar's not found right now. There is that first item, Immortal Shield Bow. Dirk's in inventory as well. You've called out the Merc Treads, and honestly, if you're going to be diving in that hard, it's double AP carries in your solo lanes. You've got a Braum who's going to be providing CC. If you feel you don't actually need that much attack speed because you're going to get from EA, and honestly, Smira wants to be using abilities more than basic attacks a lot of the time. I can see the wisdom, and Mishigu is making it work at least right now, and X7 really need to stabilize. We're a long way away from something like a Soul being forced against them, but getting caught by hooks like that constantly is really problematic. He's going to block out the Glacial Fissure with the Blade. Well, Mishigu styling on this one, goes golden, but it will not buy anything aside from a couple more seconds of life. Third time to the death chamber for Kazing. Herald number 2 is spotted, and MNM, it's an absolute demolition. MC's now caught. He gets knocked up. The Crescent Guard means nothing. Chasing being run out of the jungle by Soft. Temp's coming down, but I don't think it'll make any difference at all. Third turret of the game.
We already see bounties on the side of X7. They're looking so scared. They're looking so disoriented. You mentioned that how can X7 stabilize, right? And the first thing is you cannot get caught like this in mid. You're playing Esther Braum. You're playing such safe champions with the Ahri as well. You're supposed to be able to buy time, but the more you get caught like this, the less control you're gonna have of the game. And now it's obviously, honestly, it's just in MNM's hands, right? X7, they can still make the comeback. They still have these like kind of godlike solo lanes in terms of chasing, in terms of tempt. They have the Attila, which, shout out to Arkham, you know, the 26-minute rule, but I don't think that applies here.
Well, they're gonna have to at least not keep falling deeper in the hole if they want it to apply. Kazing gets hooked, and I think he thought he was gonna be okay because the Glacial Fissure would buy space, until it is destroyed by the Blade Well.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue about that hook. I've seen worse hooks, actually, you know, not...
True, it wasn't quite as egregious as some out there.
But after this, right, you know, we didn't see that on replay there, but Braum gets caught, okay, fine. I don't think you lose the whole mid tower for that, but then MC gets caught as well, and then it's just going downhill from there. And I really want to see now, X7, you know, they have really experienced player on their roster. They kind of have to do the same thing as I have to do right now, is take a breather,
okay.
Chill down.
See what I want to see right now is how everyone else at home is watching the NLC. Hashtag NLC at home. Shout out to mental support. I'm sure you appreciate that one, MTS. The NLC is the only thing that can beat a sunny day. Look at that, looking absolutely gorgeous outside. Really is a nice time to go touch some grass, or at least mow it. Keep your gardens nice and neat, people.
That's basically like when your mom tells you to go out and you just open the window. You know?
Yeah, just take your laptop outside and watch the NLC. Watch it on your phone, use that mobile data. That's the way forwards. Still, lovely to see how the rest of you are watching at home. Do continue to use that hashtag. We'll throw up some more tweets throughout the day. See how the rest of the fans at home are continuing to enjoy the league here on the second day of summer. Checking back in with the game though, it is about a 5,000 gold lead, just shy, more like 4,500. This Tempt being chased away from this tier 2, does dodge out from the dredge line and gets away from that hook, but now maybe they've dived. This happened in spring as well. MNM, you can't lose like this. This is what happened when they threw their massive lead back in the early round robin of spring, but this time it will only cost them one. Mishigu though is shut down. It's a kill going over to none other than Attila as well, who is much needing that gold.
Yeah, and it's just the downside, right, of playing like this. Obviously, I really respect the way that MNM is playing, but by doing what Mishigu has been doing this game, you're kind of giving up CS, not for free, because you're kind of investing it, right? But now when Attila...
Tempt takes a lot of damage, does get out of the gravity field, needs to continue walking, but does, with the charm, prevent too much more. Apologies, that was the Everfrost, rooted, not jumped.
Oof. Okay, so Attila, as I mentioned, 40 CS up on this SJ because he's just been kind of chilling on bot while MNM has been making plays elsewhere. And now when he gets that shutdown goal, he's gonna be super, not as strong still. They still have a kind of long way to go actually, 14 to 5 in kills, but I talked about stabilizing, right? And this is how you do it. You calm down the game. You have so many experienced players. Attila, you know, has to be able to calm his players down. Now, when he has 2 items, I think he can relax his team a bit and say, guys, just give me 1 more item, I'm gonna carry this.
Well, there's the transformation on the Muramana as well, and you're right. Those CS discrepancies have kind of been built up in bot side. Chasey's lost his a little bit, unfortunately, because he was a long, long way ahead until that pressure got rotated from bot side towards the top side. But that gold lead was 4.5, looking more towards 5,000, now down to more like 3,500. Yes, MNM in a strong position in this game, but we've seen bigger mid-game leads thrown before. We've seen bigger mid-game leads thrown by MNM before. They aren't at Soul Point yet, they aren't at Soul yet, minute and a half to that point, and I think they have a chance to really stamp this game well out of X7's control if they can get that dragon and maybe get a couple kills after it as well.
Yeah, and you're speaking about dragons, right? I mean, it's kind of not lucky, but good for X7 that they managed to get at least 1 early Drake. Means that they can just kind of slow down for a bit more. And imagine MNM would already have Soul Point now in 1 minute. It would be kind of a disaster. And yeah, I mean, just looking at the board now, Tempt just finishing the Sonya's, right? I'm just curious to see. I'm pretty sure that X7 just kind of comfortably outscales this one, so I think it's kind of MNM. Although I will say that they have the GP, they have the Victor, right? It's gonna be about execution as well, and we saw actually in the topside fight earlier, when they went for the invade, X7, Kalem just kind of, he just kind of popped off with the barrels.
Let's get away from that, though. MNM were looking into the blue side jungle, and I appreciate you pointing that out. Of course, 2 items now complete for Kalem, but on the other side, still yet to see a second item from Mishigu, yet to see a second item for Camera, and that is a big deal when you've got this Soul Point fight coming up, and Tempt and Attila have got their 2 items in inventory already. If X7 want to fight, that item discrepancy point is probably the best they're gonna get. 30 seconds until a Soul Point fight, X7 are ready to contest.
Yeah, and oh, that poke on Mishigu is gonna be big. I'm not sure if MNM is going to be able to contest this next midway. X7 are just posturing up really aggressively, and while MNM they do have access to the river first. We see actually a top wave on X7 side as well. They could just look to drop the Drake and do that, but I don't think they want to. They want to contest this.
Well, speaking of poke back, though, barrels, that's 2 in a row. Kalem having a fantastic game on the gangplank despite some earlier problems. Using the cannon barrage to prevent an easy take of the mid lane, but they'll still push it through. They are deciding to trade out this Soul Point for a shove through mid. Will not be able to get the tier 2, but they will claim the tier 1 and the gold it means for them. They are trying to bring that advantage back and look to fight another day. 5 minutes until a Soul fight. That might be the point that this game breaks well and truly in favor of MNM.
Yeah, and this is just what kind of the smarter teams do, right? They know when they can contest and they cannot, and they just make sure that they set up their silence in advance. Now, MNM, they have to give up 1 or 2 kind of freeways on the top side. Of course, Kalem able to save, not the mid tower, but at least the way with his cannon barrage. But now MNM on Soul Point, but the gold league has decreased significantly in the last 5 minutes.
It very much has, and of course, part of that is the fact that Mishigu has struggled to find areas on the map where he is being funneled CS, and that is often a team discussion, really, when it comes to AD carries, because you don't get to be on the map for free at this moment, and AD carries are vulnerable to people like Gwen and Ari and Jin Zhao jumping on you and making your life a horror. Speaking of being jumped on, Chasey did go across the wall with a skip and slash, but has got a hallowed mist.
Tempt is on a flank.
But Tempt on a flank, and that means Mishigu needs to be a little afraid. Tried to read a dash, will not land the charm as a result. MC taken so low, but goes in and just gets deleted. I'm not sure about the decision making now. Hook onto Chasey, means he's dead. It's a double kill. Mishigu absolutely tears apart a few more health bars. No one else is dead, but you've lost your jungler, you've lost the top laner, and it's 24 minutes into the game, and the Baron is alive. MNM find everything they want in that play. play.
It looks so good initially for X7. No one died in their initial engage from MNM. They're really like a burst team, but they're gonna contest this Nash. Michigan really low on the Samira. Are they gonna be able to tempt?
Shredder do, misses the dredge line, tries to read that one out. Charm lands onto camera, takes a lot of damage, but he's not dead. The kick in though! Soft finds Attila! It's a double to Michigan, and MNM will do what they could not do in spring and look to put X7 in the grave.
It's so easy for teams there to get scared. You see, you have so many people low, but MNM, they don't hesitate. They know exactly they have to turn. And while it's not going to secure them the Baron, they are now up 4K, up once again. And Attila, you know, still has flash, but Sof doesn't care. He just managed to find him with the kick.
And I want to see Attila. He doesn't, at least on this replay, doesn't have the flash. I don't know as a spectator because in real, he seemed to have it up. But honestly, I thought after that charm lands and the health bars gets so low, it should have been good. But Soft, what a phenomenal kick.
Yeah, man, that is... I'm just kind of speechless at this point. I see MNM, they're kind of having MVP performances on all around the board. I mean, Chimera just been kind of solid, dishing out the damage, making sure he's not getting caught in laning phase and in mid-game. Kalem had a struggling early game phase, but been able to pop off in his fights, hitting multiple barrels, and obviously Michigan so snowball on the Samira, Shredder hitting so many hooks, Soft there with kind of a game-winning kick, honestly. I mean, they're just playing super well all around.
Didn't get the Baron though, so maybe I was perhaps a little over-eager in saying MNM have got this game, but it feels increasingly like they do. And this is the team, right? MNM, in their interviews before we got to this, maybe we're gonna have to leave that point aside as the fight's going. Kasing's caught out. He's gonna die, he's dead, but that's TP not gonna get punished. It costs the flash out of Kalem, but nothing more. And X7 forced out of the river, support down again. I'll bring it back finally. I'll have this discussion because MNM in their interviews were saying, look, we might not be the best mechanical players on paper, but my God, are we on the same page? And it has shown this game going up against arguably the most mechanical team in the whole of the NLC. Baron started again, X7 looking to contest.
Yeah, MC doesn't have the flash right, but can access this Nash with his Sinsa, but MNM, sure, they must be forced to turn this again. Turn,
but that's a big charm. Shredder taken very low, but a knock-up on attempt. Who's having to run away? It's a 1-for-1 right now, but Michigan gets 2. The jungler and top laner fall once more. 22 kills to 7.
They look so disciplined, man. They, like a lot of teams, I'm sure they would just try to maybe flip the Nash, try to just get it and get out, but MNM, they know that they don't want to 50-50 this. They know if they give up a Nash to X7, they're going to be able to stabilize the game and probably going to be able to, you know, outscale.
But gets a stop onto Michigan. That could be big. It's 50 seconds till the Drake, and now Michigan hasn't reset. He's not going to be in a position to get back before the Dragon spawns, and I wonder whether X7 will look to contest. MC dead for 5 more seconds. Kalem over the wall, lands a monster barrel onto Attila, who will be drinking from the bottom of one at the end of this one. It feels like needs something stiffer in his mug right now because it has been a beating this game for the superstar AD carry being imported into the NLC. Everyone back alive. 20 seconds till a soul point for MNM, but it is MNM's one to lose right now. They are so in control. Just look at Soft's scoreline. Look at Soft's inventory. This Lee Sin can do no wrong.
Yeah, no, for sure. The X7 must be scared. The good thing is, though, they have access to the reinforcement, but Attila gets bursted.
Attila takes 2 barrel chains in a row. I praise Soft, I need to praise Kalem. These barrels have been filled with nuclear warheads. It has been practically a crime against the Geneva Convention. How ruthless they have been. The damage is on another level right now. Attila at least managed to heal up off the Grump. But if more of those barrel chains keep landing, it's going to get very difficult. Temp steps forward, gets a charm, but Kalem will orange, and a blade will prevent too much more damage. Temp still got the ultimate running for now. Chasey taken low, but has got a hallowed missed by Space Dragon going low, down to 2,000 HP, but in goes Soft, gets a kick, secures the soul. Michigan running through the back of them all. Blade Wells galore, Inferno triggers galore, and he'll shoot them all down. A team fight win for MNM. Chasey alone remains to mourn the passing of X7. They have surely lost this game.
Everything goes right there for MNM. They hit the barrel, Soft gets the seal onto the Drake, and after that, they just clean up for Michigan and the gang. Now, they're finally going to be able to, most likely, they're for sure going to be able to secure this Nash as well. I mean, it just looks so dire for X7.
I'll call it out. They did at least stop the soul going over. I thought Soft got it, but all he got was the kill.
Okay.
Either way, soul not gone, but that is a silver lining. That's all it is. And it is some mighty thunderclouds you're finding that silver lining in right now. Baron Baron secured, Medjai's in inventory, a Mastercard Baron power play to come. And X7, their backs are well and truly against the wall. They were the #1 team from last split. They were EU Masters champions, hopefuls. They were looking to do it all, and now looking down the barrel of a 0-2 start to summer. Let's have a look at this fight.
There's just so much poke on the side of MNM. You know, one laser from Chimera hitting, gets the ulti off. Kalem has the ulti as well, hits the barrel, multiple barrels actually. MC kind of getting caught in almost every single fight we have seen so far. He does manage, as you mentioned, get the Drake, but I mean, look at Michigan, man. He's just kind of flying over the map. What is this guy doing?
When they named Samira's Q Flare, I think this is what they meant because it has been a stylish game from the AD carry of MNM. 11-1-9.
I mean, like, honestly, man, I'm just gonna mention, when I play Samira, even if I get fed in lane, in mid-game there is some button that I press and I just get completely caught in the fight, right? But Michigan have been super patient in this fight. This is what you have to do with Samira. You can't just go headbutt first time and go into the fight, right? But Michigan is really patient and able to clean up every single fight. Now MNM onto the siege on the tier 2. Surely X7 has to give this one up.
Between Samira and the OG of that particular mindset, Lee Sin, aka Lee Syndrome, still make it work for MNM. Very patient, very appropriate. So much damage coming through again, and they'll just force them off. They won't overchase. That patience, that discipline you called out, proving them very well in this game as Attila takes another barrel chain. Inhibitor down. It's 30 minutes into the game, and MNM just continuing to push in, continue to turn the screws as X7 are bleeding out.
Yeah, it's looking really rough, and honestly, that's kind of the thing. We have now 10,000 gold lead onto MNM. If it was any other team than X7, I would call this just a quits. I just hope that MNM is able to close this out. The thing why I'm just, you guys hear me oohing all the time whenever Kalem hits a barrel onto Attila, but he's been doing it so consistent onto a champion like Esther. It's not easy, man.
It's really not, and honestly, it's been really impressive stuff. Like Shredder early on, just heat-seeking hooks. He's 1-2-22. Like, this guy has had a phenomenal game.
That's the curse.
It's a Zhonya's. It's not a stopwatch. It's a Zhonya's. So there is at least that.
That's so funny.
But still, cast a curse is a real. Clip it, ship it. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Bad juju aside, MNM continuing to use the last 20 seconds of this Baron to take even more gold. There's bounties everywhere. There is so much to do with. Chasey is going to try and split push away and get a tower back, but what's it going to cost them? Does at least get that one, but it's a 4v5, a knock-up onto MC, who's just dropped into a gravity field. He's gone. He's dead. He's deleted. Kasing survives. Chasey teleports into the base, but he's not going to be able to defend anything. Tower's down. In goes Mishigu. Will not be able to secure the kills. Goes into a golden state, courtesy of a stopwatch. Taken low, but not down. X7 forced back from this inhibitor for now. The remains of the needlework now thrown out, but it is trying to cut down a mighty forest with a tiny pair of scissors. You're going to be there for a goddamn while. Third inhibitor falls. MNM onto the Nexus towers. X7 looking down the barrel of a 0-2 and MNM. It's going to be sweet, sweet vengeance, surely, but not quite yet, as they will pull back just for now.
I mean, I thought for sure MNM would go for the end there, right? But X7 managed the wave clear in the end, and they buy themselves some time, but at what cost? We now see the Drake coming up in 30 seconds. Surely both teams has to contest it. They don't have time to base initial.
They really don't. They really, really don't. Chasey getting run down. Mishigu taken pretty low, but will not quite secure it. Hook from Shredder! Of course he finds it, but what about the turnaround? Kasing is dead. Chasey trying their absolute best, but he cannot snip anyone down to size. They get one, but it's only the Nautilus. Tempt on 5 HP. He falls down as Kalem gets that one, and now Attila must do it all in a 1 versus 4, and I just don't think he has it. It's ironic when you name yourself after the greatest Hun that you are facing down a horde of minions and MNM players. He's back to the fountain. He's back to the drawing board. MNM will win this game against X7.
Super impressive all around the board for MNM. They played super well in individual on every single champion, and I mean, just like kind of out